Hi, today's session we are going to discuss about bases. In last class we learned about acids and their properties. So in today's lesson we are going to study the properties of bases. So first, what is the base? So base is a substance which can produce OH minus ions when dissolved in water. That is the definition of base. And the solutions of substances bitter in taste and soapy to touch are called bases. So this is also the definition of base. So the solution of substances which are bitter in taste and which are soapy to touch are called bitter in taste and soapy to touch are called bases. And also an important property of base is or bases is that they turn red litmus into blue color. So remember, acids are also having a test with the litmus paper. What is that? In case of acids can turn blue litmus into red, but bases can turn red litmus into blue. This is the differentiating property between acids and bases. In fact, this litmus test is used to identify or to distinguish between acids and bases. So, what is a base? So, base is a substance which can produce OH minus ions in aqueous solution, and the solutions of bases are bitter to taste and they are soapy to touch. They are bitter to taste, but it is strongly recommended not to taste the bases, the solutions of bases, because they are highly corrosive in nature. Next, so bases are the chemical opposites of acids. So they are chemical opposites of acids, and since they both are chemical opposite, when we mix them together, they will undergo neutralization. So that is what we are discussing here. When bases are added to acids, they neutralize each other or they neutralize acids. So, what are the examples of bases? So, all metal oxides and metal hydroxides are bases, no doubt. So, if you take any metal oxide and metal hydroxides, they are bases. Why metal hydroxides are bases? Metal hydroxides are bases, no doubt, because metal hydroxide, if you take a metal hydroxide like NaOH, if you dissolve this NaOH solid in water, it is going to produce Na plus and OH minus ions. This Na plus is cation and OH minus is anion, right? So Na plus is solvated and OH minus is also solvated. So these ions are called solvated ions. So because of the presence of OH minus ions, metal hydroxides like NaOH or CaOH twice are behaving as bases. But how can a metal oxide can behave as base? Similarly, metal oxide when dissolved in water they form hydroxides. So what happens when sodium, for example, when sodium oxide Na2O is dissolved in water, it is converting into NaOH when dissolved in water. So when it is converted into NaOH, now it can produce OH minus ions. So metal oxides and metal hydroxides are the examples of bases. For example, sodium oxide, calcium oxide, CaO, and sodium hydroxide, NaOH, calcium hydroxide, CaOH twice. So, example number 2. Next, metal carbonates and bicarbonates are also considered as bases as they neutralize acids. So, now unlike metal hydroxides, there are no direct OH ions in metal carbonates or metal bicarbonates. The examples of metal carbonates and bicarbonates are, sodium bicarbonate NaHCO3, sodium carbonate Na2CO3, calcium carbonate CaCO3. So unlike metal hydroxides, we won't find any hydroxide ion in these in their structure. Though they are not perceiving hydroxide ion, they can act as bases in dissolved state. How they are going to act as bases? How? Because they are having a property, they neutralize acids directly. The reaction between a bicarbonate, sodium bicarbonate, and HCl, this is going to give sodium chloride salt and H2O liquid, CO2 gas. So in this reaction, sodium chloride salt is formed, water and CO2 gas is evolved. In a normal neutralization reaction, that is the reaction between acid and base, we will get only salt and water. But in case of carbonates and bicarbonates, because of the presence of bicarbonate and carbonate species, we are going to get CO2 gas also. So metal carbonates and metal bicarbonates are also considered as bases, as they can neutralize acids. And also ammonium hydroxide is an exceptional one. It is also acting as base, though it does not contain any metal in its structure, but it is having OH minus ion. So if you like NH4, if you look at NH4OH, it is having NH4 cation, OH minus anion. Though it is not a metal hydroxide, it can also act as a base. So the example is, you see here, NH4OH aqueous when treated with HCl aqueous, the product is NH4Cl and H2O liquid. This is also neutralization reaction because salt and water are formed as byproducts. Next, product and byproducts. So then these are the different examples of bases. So what kind of substances can act as bases now? First, metal oxides and metal hydroxides. Metal oxides and metal hydroxides are metal oxides and metal hydroxides can straight away act as bases, because metal oxides when dissolved in water they form corresponding hydroxides. For example, sodium oxide when dissolved in water it forms sodium hydroxide. Calcium oxide when dissolved in water it is going to form calcium hydroxide. That is the reason why metal oxides are acting as bases, and metal hydroxides are perceiving OH minus ions in their structure so that they can act as bases. Next, metal carbonates and bicarbonates. Though they do not have OH minus ion, metal carbonates, bicarbonates can act as bases because they can neutralize acid to form salt and water along the formation of CO2 gas. And ammonium hydroxide is an exceptional one. So this is acting as base because of the presence of OH minus ion, but unlike metal oxides and hydroxides, it is not having any metal atom in it. So bases of two types basically. They can be water soluble and they may be water soluble, and they may not be water soluble. The water soluble bases are called as alkalis. So the bases which dissolve in water are called alkalis. Example, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, ammonium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide. All these are alkalis. So next, what do all the bases have in common? So what is the common feature in different bases? So as we learned earlier, bases produce OH minus ions when they dissolve in water. They produce OH minus ions when they dissolve in water. Hence, base is a substance which can produce OH minus ions in solution. For example, NaOH. It's taken as NaOH, sodium hydroxide solid. When it is dissolved in water, it is going to split into sodium plus cation, OH minus anion. So in the notation, if you observe here, the representation AQ is given in the subscript. It indicates the sodium cation and the hydroxide anions are solvated in aqueous medium. Since we are using water as solvent, so they are solvated. So this indicates that solvated cation and solvated anion. So sodium ion and hydroxide ion is formed. So this, since hydroxide ion is formed, NaOH is acting as a base. Then coming to magnesium hydroxide. So when magnesium hydroxide solid is also dissolved in water, it is going to split into divalent magnesium cation or Mg plus 2 in aqueous state and OH minus anion. Since here two hydroxides, two OHs are there, no, two hydroxide ions are produced. Hence, the aqueous solution of NaOH and magnesium hydroxide are bases as they contain OH minus ions. Other bases like KOH, calcium hydroxide, barium hydroxide are also capable of producing OH minus ions. So what is the common feature in all these bases? The common feature is all the bases when dissolved in water, they produce OH minus ions. That is the common thing all the bases are having. Next, when the solution of a base is diluted by mixing more water in it. So, for example, take a beaker, right? So, in this beaker, some amount of base is dissolved. NaOH is dissolved in some 1 liter water, I think, 1 gram. 1 gram of NaOH, Okay, let me explain. So take a beaker. So this beaker is having 1 liter water, and in this 1 gram NaOH is dissolved. It is forming a solution here. So for this, if you add some 1 liter of water from externally, then what happens? Dilution occurs. Dilution means the concentration of OH minus ion decreases. Earlier, the number of OH minus ions present here are only in 1 liter. Now, upon the addition of 1 liter water to the existing 1 liter solution, then the total volume became 2 liter. So in this case, the concentration of the OH minus ion decreases. Concentration is nothing but number of OH minus ions in unit space, right? They are going to decrease it. This is called dilution. So what happens? A basic solution or an acidic solution, whatever it is, upon dilution, its concentration decreases. Concentration decreases means the number of OH minus ions present in unit volume decreases. So that is what here stated. That is what stated here. When the solution of a base is diluted by mixing more water in it, then the concentration of the hydroxide ions per unit volume decreases. This gives us dilute solutions. So what is the difference between a dilute solution and a concentrated solution? In a concentrated solution, the number of OH minus ions present in unit volume is greater than the number of OH minus ions present in a dilute solution. That is the difference. So next, coming to classification of bases. So based on the strength, bases can be classified as strong bases and weak bases. So based on the classification is based on the strength. So what are strong bases? So strong bases are the bases which can undergo complete ionization, or in other words, which completely ionizes in water and thus produces a large amount of hydroxide ions, is called a strong base. Strong bases are also called strong alkalis. Examples of strong base: sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, barium hydroxide, etc. So, how can you understand this? You know, any strong base, for example, you take NaOH, when it is put in water, it will undergo 100% ionization, complete ionization, aqueous, aqueous, solid. That means if you take 1 mole of NaOH, you will get 1 mole of sodium, 1 mole of hydrogen. If you take n molecules of NaOH, you will get n sodium atoms and n OH minus atoms. The ionization is 100%. So, unlike strong bases, in weak bases, the ionization is not complete. That means the bases which do not undergo complete dissociation to form OH minus ions is called are called weak bases. So a base which partially ionized in water and thus produces a small amount of hydroxide ions is called a weak base or weak alkali. Examples of weak bases includes ammonium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide. These are the examples of the weak bases. Weak bases produce small amount of OH minus ions in water compared to strong bases. So this is the classification about bases. So far what have you learned? So we have defined a base and we have studied the properties of the base and we have gone through different examples of bases like metal oxides, metal hydroxides, and metal carbonates, metal bicarbonates, even ammonium hydroxide. And also, we have learned all the bases are having OH minus ion, all the bases can produce OH minus ions in solution. That is the common feature in all the bases. And also, we have differentiated what is a concentrated solution and what is a dilute solution. So concentrated solution is having more OH minus ions when compared to a dilute solution. Similarly, for acids also, a concentrated acid is having more H plus ions because acid is a substance which can produce H plus ions, right? Unlike base can produce OH minus ions in solution. So concentrated acid is having more number of H plus ions in unit volume when compared to a dilute acid. Then coming to classification of bases, based on their strength, bases are going to be classified into strong bases and weak bases. So strong bases undergo complete ionization. They can produce maximum number of OH minus ions. Example, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, barium hydroxide. They are called strong alkalis. Weak bases partially ionize or they do not undergo complete ionization, produce a small amount of OH minus ions. They are called weak alkalis. Ammonium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide are the examples of weak alkalis. So they produce small amount of OH minus ions in water. This is about classification of bases. Then coming to properties of bases, right? So we are going to touch the properties of the bases now. So the important properties of water soluble bases are given below. So here our study is only limited to water soluble bases because there are other bases which are not soluble or which are insoluble in water. They are organic bases, right? Okay, then first property is bases have bitter taste. So as we said earlier, do not try to taste bases as they are corrosive in nature. They cause blisters, right? They are seriously corrode your skin tissue. And second one, the bases are soapy to touch and corrosive in nature. Next, bases turn red litmus to blue color. So here, what is the difference between an acid and base in terms of litmus test? Bases turn red litmus to blue, but acids turn blue litmus to red. So this test is a rapid test and easily performable test. at any ordinary lab conditions to distinguish or to identify whether a given solution is acidic or basic or neutral, right? So bases turn red litmus to blue. Next, bases conduct electricity in aqueous solutions and hence they are electrolytes. So here a new term is introduced, electrolyte. Electrolyte is a substance which can allow passage of electricity through it. They are called electrolytes, right? So why bases are acting as electrolyte, or why bases allow passage of electricity through them? Because when they dissolved in water, they are producing cation and anion. The anion is hydroxide ion. Cation varies. That depends upon the nature. That depends upon the base. For example, NaOH. When NaOH is dissolved in water, we discussed earlier, it is producing Na plus and OH minus ions. So these ions are responsible for electrical conductivity. So bases, the solutions of bases are good electrolytes. They conduct electricity. This is due to the formation of ions in water. These ions conduct electricity. This is the fourth property. And fifth one is bases reacts with some metals. So it should be noted only with few metals, not all metals, right? So there are some selective metals which can liberate hydrogen gas when reacted with bases. So bases react with some metals to form hydrogen gas. So we can remember, we have to remember, acids are also producing or liberating hydrogen gas when they are allowed to react with certain metals. Similarly, bases can also liberate with hydrogen gas with specific metals. For example, if you look at the reaction between zinc and aqueous NaOH, right? Take a test tube. In this, zinc solid is taken. To this, dilute or aqueous sodium hydroxide solution is added. Though the result is hydrogen gas is evolved and sodium zincate salt is formed. Since salt is formed, yes, sodium zincate salt is formed. Since salt is formed, the salt is having a cation and anion. The cation present in this sodium zincate is Na plus and anion is zincate anion. The structure of zincate anion is ZnO2 minus. The structure of zincate anion is ZnO2 2 minus. ZnO2 2 minus. Here on this anion, two negative charges are there. In this cation, only one positive charge is there. So, in order to maintain electrical neutrality, this zincate anion can associate with two Na plus ions. Then only the two units of negative charge is going to be balanced with 2 units of positive charge. So coming back to the discussion, so bases also liberate hydrogen gas when reacted with specific metals like zinc. So when sodium hydroxide reacts with zinc, it liberates hydrogen gas along with the formation of sodium zincate. Sodium zincate is a salt. So sodium zincate is a salt in which sodium cation and zincate anion are present. Next, sixth property is neutralization. This neutralization already, I think we have learned it at acids unit, and also here also we are going to discuss about that. What is neutralization? The reaction between acids and bases to form a salt and water is called neutralization. In this reaction, heat is also evolved, right? So bases are the chemical opposites of acids we discussed earlier. That is the reason why when bases are allowed to react with acids, they are going to react together to form salt and water. This reaction is called neutralization. This is very, very important. So, okay. So, what is neutralization? Neutralization is the reaction between an acid and base to form salt and water with the liberation of heat. It's called neutralization. For example, if you take aqueous NaOH, aqueous HCl. Aqueous NaOH means, so at room temperature NaOH is a solid and it is dissolved in water. Similarly, aqueous HCl means at room temperature HCl is gas but it is marketed in the form of aqueous solution. So that is concentrated, it is dissolved in water. So when sodium hydroxide base and HCl acid are combined, are allowed to react together, NaCl aqueous, salt and water liquid are formed. This is neutralization. In this process, heat is evolved. So let us check one more example. The reaction between sodium hydroxide and H2SO4. Here, H2SO4 is called sulfuric acid. H2SO4 can donate 2 H plus ions. So actually, H2SO4 can donate 2 H plus and SO4 2 minus ion. Since there are 2 H plus ions are there, we need 2 OH minus ions. That is the reason why we have taken 2 moles of NaOH for 1 mole of H2SO4, or for 1 molecule of H2SO4, 2 molecules of NaOH is needed. So NaOH and H2O allowed to react together to form Na2SO4, salt and H2O. So this is also an example of neutralization. So we can also define neutralization in a different way. So how can we define that? The neutralization is a reaction between acid and base, right? Every acid, each acid produces H plus ions, right? And base produces OH minus ions. Since the reacting species are H plus and OH minus, we can define neutralization in a different way. See, all the acids produce H plus ions in solution, whereas bases produce OH minus ions in solution. So when an acid and a base combine, then the real neutralization reaction occurs between H plus ion of an acid and OH minus ion of a base to form water. So this is also called neutralization. Next. So we can write the neutralization reaction between an acid and a base in terms of hydrogen ions and hydroxide ions as follows. So H plus aqueous plus OH minus aqueous are going to react. This is called neutralization. They are going to form H2O liquid water. So these hydrogen ions are obtained from H plus ions in solution. Acids from acids in solution. These OH minus ions are obtained from bases in solution. And the seventh and last property of base is bases react with non-metal oxides to form salt and water, right? Acids react with metal oxides. We learned that, right? Why? Metal oxides are basic. That is the reason why acids are going to react with non-metals. So here bases are going to react with non-metal oxides. Why? Because non-metal oxides are acidic in nature. So if you take a non-metal oxide, it is having acidic property. Since it is having acidic property, it is going to react with its chemical opposite called base. So hence bases have a greater tendency to react with non-metal oxide to form salt and water. Again, it is a kind of neutralization. Why? Because metal oxides are a kind of acids. So the reaction between non-metal oxides are a kind of acids. So the reaction between base and non-metal is nothing but a reaction between a base and an acid. So the products are salt and water. So base reacts with non-metal oxide, which is having acidic nature, to form salt and water. Examples are sodium hydroxide is a base. So when it is allowed to react with CO2 gas, CO2 is a non-metal oxide because carbon is non-metal. So this is having mild acidic character. This is acidic. Then base and acid going to form a salt, calcium carbonate and H2O liquid. Similarly, sodium hydroxide when allowed to react with carbon dioxide, they are going to react to form Na2CO3. Since here two sodiums are required, we are going to take two molecules of NaOH for one molecule of CO2. So this is the reaction between bases and non-metal oxides. So let us summarize what are the properties of bases. So first property is, right, so bases are bitter to taste, and second one is they are soapy to touch and corrosive in nature. They turn red litmus into blue, and their aqueous solutions are electrolytes. That means they allow passage of electricity through them. This is due to the presence of Na plus ions, cation and anion. In case of NaOH, Na plus and OH minus. And fifth one is bases can also liberate hydrogen gas when they are going to when they are allowed to react with some metals. For example, sodium hydroxide when allowed to react with zinc, sodium zincite is formed. This reaction is also important for your exam, board exam. Sodium zincite, this chemical equation important, and along with the liberation of hydrogen gas. So this gas is hydrogen is flammable gas. This is flammable. And sodium zincite is a salt in which sodium cation and zincate anion is present. Zincate, the structure is ZnO2 2 minus. The formula is ZnO2 2 minus. And bases react with their chemical opposites, acids, to form salt and water. This reaction is called neutralization. So in this neutralization reaction, the actual reacting species are H plus ion and OH minus ion. H plus ion is obtained from acid and OH minus ion is obtained from bases. So one can write neutralization reaction like this: H plus and OH minus to form H2O and some heat. And bases can also react with non-metal oxides. Why? Non-metal oxides are acidic. Since they are acidic, they can react with bases to form salt and water. The examples are calcium carbonate and CO2. So calcium hydroxide and CO2. Calcium hydroxide is a base, CO2 is a non-metallic oxide. When they allowed to react together, calcium carbonate solid and H2O liquid are formed. Actually, this test is used to identify carbon dioxide gas. Carbon dioxide turns lime water milky. Calcium hydroxide is also called lime water. So if you take some lime water in a test tube, and into the test tube, if CO2 gas is bubbled, the lime water, earlier it is colorless, it turns into milky white precipitate of CS. Since a white precipitate of CaCO3 is formed precipitate. This is white PPT, white precipitate. This test is also important. And sodium hydroxide, one more example is sodium hydroxide when dissolved with when reacted with carbon dioxide, we are going to get Na2CO3. Yeah. So this is the activity part in the textbook. So actually this activity is to prove bases can liberate hydrogen gas when they are allowed to react with some specific metals. So what we are going to do, earlier the activity is the same activity is done with a metal and acid. Now the same activity we are going to perform, but we replace acid with base. So what it is, see, there is a stand, right? To this, a test tube is fitted by means of a stand, and this test tube is also having a rubber cork and fitted with a delivery tube, right? So earlier, first this test tube is in the test tube, some zinc granules are taken. Zinc granules are taken. To this, dilute sodium hydroxide NaOH solution. NaOH solution is added to this. So if you add NaOH solution to this, then NaOH solution is added and the test tube mouth is fitted with the rubber cork and the delivery tube. Then what happens? Slowly the reaction between sodium hydroxide and zinc takes place. Zinc solid, sodium hydroxide takes place to form sodium zincate, the liberation of hydrogen gas. So sodium zincate, as soon as sodium zincate is forming, zinc metal starts to dissolve with the liberation of hydrogen gas. So how can we realize the hydrogen gas is evolving? First, we can find some bubbles here, effervescences, gas bubbles we can find that. And the formed bubble gas enters into this beaker containing soap solution through the delivery tube. Here in the soap solution also we can find some bubbles, and the outgoing gas is allowed to a candle, burning candle. So what happens here? Burning of hydrogen gas with pop sound takes place because hydrogen gas is highly combustible gas. Combustible gas. That is the reason why the gas, the gas which is liberating from the test tube starts burning. So if it is a CO2 gas, what happens? It puts up the light of the candle. Unlike hydrogen, CO2 puts up the fire. That is the reason why it is used in fire extinguishers. That is the difference between CO2 and H2O. CO2 fire extinguisher, it puts off flame. H2 supports flame. It burns, right? So that is the reason why we never prefer to fill balloons with hydrogen. Instead, helium is taken because they may lead to accidents. So this activity proves when sodium hydroxide and zinc are allowed to react together, they are going to produce hydrogen gas, right? So this is activity in your textbook, activity 2.3. So this is one more activity as we discussed earlier, in the properties of bases. Bases can the solutions of bases can conduct electricity. How would we prove that? How would we realize that? From this experiment. So what we are doing here in this experiment, we have taken a beaker containing rubber cork and two nails connected to a battery circuit. So you see here, this is a 6-volt battery, and here a switch and a bulb are taken, right? So if the beaker is filled with dilute HCl, so in this experiment dilute HCl is used. This is for the this is here replaced with dilute NaOH solution. So when it is filled with dilute NaOH solution, and if you on the switch, what happens? The bulb glows. It means circuit is closed. Why that happens? Because the NaOH present in this solution, in this beaker, undergoes ionization to form NaOH and OH minus ions. Since ions are formed, they allows the passage of electricity between these two electrodes, and hence the circuit is closed. If you take any non-electrolyte in this solution instead of dilute NaOH, say for example, take glucose solution, what happens? Glucose is a covalent compound. Glucose do not undergo ionization in water. It cannot produce ions. So, if we replace the sodium hydroxide solution with glucose solution, then what would be your observation? Bulb doesn't glow. Reason is circuit is not closed because ions are not produced, because the resulting solution is not conducting in nature. So, since electricity is passing through the solution, this NaOH is called electrolyte. This is activity 2. These two activities are related to our properties of bases. Property number 5. So hydrogen gas liberation, and property number 4, passage of electricity. So, since we are interacting in a E-class, we can't show the activity experimentally. So whenever we meet in our school, then we are going to show you experimentally how these different electrolytes allowing passage of electricity through them, and also how hydrogen gas is liberated, how CO2 is liberated when acids are reacted with carbonates, bicarbonates, and all the things can be shown later. So meanwhile, so what have we discussed? I am going to conclude this. What have we discussed today? I am going to summarize the topics just. So we have studied what are bases, then we have studied some examples of the bases, and we realized bases are the chemical opposites of acids, and also the various examples of bases: metal oxides, metal hydroxides, metal carbonates, metal bicarbonates, ammonium hydroxide, even though there is no metal, and all the bases in common are having OH minus ion in it. Then when more solvent or more water is added, to a concentrated solution, the solution becomes diluted. Diluted means it is having less number of OH minus ions in a given volume. Concentrated means it is having more number of OH minus ions in a given volume. Then classification of bases. Bases can be classified into strong bases and weak bases depending upon their extent of ionization. A strong base completely ionizes in water to produces OH minus ions. A weak base partially undergo ionization. These are the various examples. NaOH, KOH, barium hydroxide are strong bases, examples of strong bases. So ammonium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide are weak bases. They produce small amount of OH minus ions in water. Then properties of bases. They are bitter to taste, soapy to touch, turns red litmus to blue. Remember this test for acids, blue litmus to red. Their electrolyte passage of electricity takes place. They liberate hydrogen gas with specific metals, and they undergo neutralization with acids, and they can react with non-metallic oxides, since non-metallic oxides are bases, and they are going to produce salt and water. And we have gone through two activities also. One is to prove the bases are electrolytes, and other is bases can liberate hydrogen gas. Okay, thank you. This is and for today, and next class I am going to come with a more interactive method, not like this, right? And so what is our task for today? So after going through the lecture, you are expected to go through the same topics from your textbook or resource material whatever you are having. If you need these resource material, I make available to you in my WhatsApp or in the school group or something. If you have any doubts, you can text me to my personal WhatsApp number. And after going through this, I am going to give you small assessment also. You are expected to do that. So first listen the lecture carefully, then go through the textbook. You have to read each point, each every line in the textbook, and try to solve the questions that were asked in the textbook. Thank you. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best. Stay safe. Stay at home. Stay safe. Thank you.